He promoted Jessica, the girl who spent more time fixing her lipstick than fixing problems, right in front of me, and said I was too emotional for leadership. If I hadn't been gripping the edge of that conference table, I swear I would have flipped it over. I'd worked 6 years straight, skipped vacations, pulled 3 a.m. shifts, and trained half the team. And he gave her the title I bled for. If you've ever been underestimated, this story will give you the revenge you dream about. Like, share, and subscribe if you believe in quiet power turning loud. Maya didn't say a word when everyone clapped for Jessica. She just smiled, packed her laptop, and walked out of the meeting room like nothing happened. But inside, she was on fire. They thought she was weak because she never raised her voice. They didn't know she'd been planning her exit for months. And not just from the job, but from the entire corporate trap. She had built a full automation software on her own time, tested it quietly using internal systems, and made it 10x, faster than the garbage tech the company had relied on for years. No one knew. Not her boss. Not her fake friend coworkers. Not even Jessica, who once asked Maya to help format her resume like she wasn't already gunning for the same position. Maya had emails, screenshots, proof, all showing that her software was already solving real client issues behind the scenes, and Jessica had taken credit for every single win. But instead of exposing anyone, Maya printed out her resignation. One clean page, no emotions, until the last line. And that one line, it didn't just end her career at that place. It ended his. Because that line held the key to a secret deal, and a name no one expected. The Ein. Last line of Maya's resignation letter read, "Effective immediately, I am transferring all licensing rights of the patented workflow software, currently embedded in your core systems, to its new owner, McAllister Global Tech." Silence. Her boss, Mr. Reynolds, blinked. "What? Software?" Maya turned, looked him dead in the eyes, and replied, "The one you've been praising Jessica for. The one that's not yours to use anymore." Gasps echoed through the office. Jessica's face drained of color. "Wait, what are you talking about?" Maya didn't flinch. "You remember all those team wins you posted about on LinkedIn? They weren't yours. They were mine. And now, they belong to someone way out of your league." She walked out, heels echoing through the hallway, leaving a printed license termination agreement on the table. It was ironclad. The company had 14 days to stop using her software, or face legal action. Reynolds panicked. This software wasn't just a tool. It had become the spine of their daily operations. Without it, deadlines would crash, clients would walk, and the entire department would fall apart. He called legal. Legal asked, "Why didn't you have her sign an IP agreement?" Reynolds stuttered, "I didn't think she was capable of building something better than your whole IT team." Maya's voice suddenly cut through. She was standing in the doorway again, this time with a contract in her hand. "Oh, and by the way," she smiled, "McAllister Global? They're offering me a full department, double the pay, and ownership, equity. They want me to build from scratch, not babysit someone like Jessica." Jessica opened her mouth to speak, but Maya raised her hand. "Save it. You didn't just steal my credit. You did it thinking I'd stay quiet. That was your real mistake." Maya turned again and walked off, this time for good. But just before the elevator doors closed, she sent one last email to the entire company. Subject: Farewell. Attachment: a timeline of every task she completed that Jessica claimed, and a final note: leadership isn't about being loud, it's about delivering. You promoted noise. I built the system. The email spread like wildfire. But that was just the beginning. Because what Reynolds didn't know was that Maya had one more surprise, and it would hit him where it hurt most. 3 days later, Reynolds got a calendar invite titled, Board, Emergency, Unauthorized IP Breach and Executive Misconduct Review. He froze. Maya had gone straight to the top, not with threats, but with proof. She'd forwarded every email, every Slack message, and every document showing how her software was integrated without credit, permission, or legal agreement. And she didn't stop there. She had sent it to the entire board of directors, to their legal counsel, to 2 journalists she knew from college, one of whom now worked at Forbes. Jessica had already started working in her new Director of Tech Operations role. But now, she was being temporarily suspended pending investigation. Maya didn't say a word publicly, but behind the scenes, she was making calls. McAllister Global Tech had already scheduled a press release. They were acquiring Maya's software, hiring her as their head of innovation, and signing a deal worth $4.7 million in cash and stock. The same week Reynolds was sweating bullets trying to contain the narrative, Maya was sipping coffee on her new penthouse balcony overlooking the city, gifted to her as part of her welcome package. She still hadn't blocked anyone from her old office. She wanted them to watch. Because Maya wasn't petty, she was strategic. Every post Jessica made now had comments like, "Didn't Maya build that system? Why aren't you giving credit to the real genius? Where's your apology?" Jessica eventually deleted her entire social media. Reynolds, under pressure, offered Maya a consulting retainer to help them transition off her system. Maya sent back one sentence: "You promoted the wrong person. Now pay the price." He thought it was over. But Maya hadn't told anyone the real twist yet. The biggest one. The one that would destroy Reynolds' entire career. With just one unexpected signature. 1 week later, Reynolds received a formal envelope marked "Confidential, Legal Notice." But it wasn't from Maya. It was from McAllister Global's acquisitions team. Inside was a letter detailing their latest business move. They were buying out Reynolds' entire company's tech division. That included staff, systems, and all operational software. Why? Because McAllister didn't just want Maya. They wanted full control of the infrastructure she'd quietly designed. And they knew her ex-employer wouldn't survive without it. But here's the twist that shattered Reynolds. The buyout was being handled under the leadership of Maya Johnson, newly appointed VP of Strategy at McAllister Global. Maya was now in charge of approving every single role, including whether Reynolds and Jessica would be retained, relocated, or removed. He couldn't believe it. The girl he once told was too quiet to lead was now the one holding the pen over his fate. At the emergency board meeting, Reynolds tried to downplay the situation, sweating under the lights, fumbling through half-truths. But then Maya walked in, not as a guest, not as a consultant, but as the buyer. She placed a file on the table, looked straight at Reynolds and said, "I've reviewed the current leadership structure, and I'm recommending immediate termination of any executive involved in IP misuse, employee sabotage, or discriminatory promotion practices," gasps again. Reynolds opened the file in front of him. Inside were screenshots of every time he ignored Maya's emails, every time he approved Jessica's lies, and a timeline showing exactly how he had failed to document anything properly. Maya's voice was calm. "You didn't just ignore my work. You gambled your entire company's future on lipstick and loud voices. Now I own the consequences." Jessica, sitting across the table, whispered, This is revenge." Maya looked at her, smiled slightly, and said, "No, this is justice." 1 week later, Reynolds was out. Jessica's contract was voided for falsified reports. Maya personally hired 3 new department heads. All quiet, hard-working underdogs who had been overlooked for years. But just when it seemed like things had settled, something else hit the news. A scandal that would take everything Reynolds still had. And Maya was the one who triggered it. The headline exploded across every major business news outlet. former exec caught in fake equity scandal, whistleblower, was once his employee. Reynolds' face was plastered everywhere, and right next to it, a quiet quote from Maya. Some leaders build empires. Others fake their way to the top. I just revealed the difference. Here's what happened. While working at the company, Maya had quietly discovered something disturbing. Reynolds had been faking investor reports. He inflated projections, forged client feedback, and even created phantom equity holders to secure a risky funding round the previous year. She had screenshotted everything but didn't use it. Not immediately, because Maya wasn't interested in petty revenge. She was building a case. Now, with the company under McAllister's control, she handed everything over to their internal audit team, and within days, they uncovered fraud on a massive scale. The board launched a full legal investigation. Investors pulled out. The SEC got involved. And Reynolds? He didn't just lose his job. He lost his reputation, his retirement, and his future. Jessica tried to go private. But Maya wasn't even thinking about her anymore. She was focused on her new team. People like James, a developer who had once been silenced in meetings. People like Priya, a project manager who had been passed up for promotions 5 times because she wasn't aggressive enough. Maya made a rule. We don't talk the loudest. We let results speak. Her leadership style was quiet but surgical. Every new innovation coming out of her department carried one thing: impact. 6 months later, McAllister's valuation hit a new record, and Maya was named one of Fortune's top 40 under 40 innovators. At the award ceremony, a reporter asked her, "What would you say to your old boss if he was watching this right now?" She smiled, not with arrogance, but with calm fire. "I'd say thank you. You taught me exactly how not to lead. You underestimated me so badly. You forced me to build something I didn't even know I was capable of. And now, I'm unstoppable." The crowd erupted. But Maya? She just stepped down from the podium and walked away. No big speech, no tears. Because her story wasn't just about revenge. It was about becoming undeniable. The girl they ignored. The voice they called too soft. The one they thought would stay small forever. Was now the woman who owned everything they once denied her. And somewhere, behind a desk covered in legal notices and regrets, Reynolds finally understood the weight of the line Maya had written at the bottom of that resignation letter. The quiet ones are building. The loud ones are watching.